Welcome to Have History Will Travel, your weekly dose of history. I am your host, the Wilder Historian, and today I want to discuss, according to Dr. Earl Hess, the most hated man in the Confederacy, Braxton Bragg. Hess's recent work entitled Braxton Bragg, the Most Hated Man in the Confederacy, takes the South's whipping boy and debunks many of the myths behind the rebel general and seeks to highlight the context surrounding his decisions, which explains why he did what he did. Because of the size of the book and the multitude of the nuances that the work presents, I will focus solely on three of Bragg's most controversial moves that Hess dissects. The first will be the Battle of Stones River, second, Union forces under William Rosecrans capturing Chattanooga, and finally, Bragg's propensity to execute countless soldiers for the most minor of infractions. Hess's description of the Battle of Stones River illustrates that Bragg instructed his subordinates to carry out great military maneuvers. On the verge of battle in late December, Bragg concentrated his forces on the east side of Stones River, where he came in contact with, but did not fully engage the enemy. In the evening and night of December 30th to the 31st, he moved McCown's and Claiborne's divisions to the west side of the river, which completely surprised the Union Army under Rosecrans. The following attack on the Union right moved masterfully as they rolled up much of the Federal troops because of that surprise attack. However, a small pocket developed where the Confederates could not budge the Union defenders. Bragg ordered a couple of brigades from Breckinridge, whose force was on the east side of the river, to support and engage the enemy in the pocket. Leonidas Polk, who Breckinridge's brigades took orders from at that point, sent them in piecemeal style, weakening the attack. After a day of rest, January 2nd saw Breckinridge with his brigades with orders to attack the Union force in his front, who had advanced on his line, and drive them across the waterway and hold the high ground. Breckinridge went further than ordered and crossed the water, chasing the Federals, and ended up getting hit by large amounts of artillery fire and Union musketry. The Confederate Army would pull away from Stones River and Murfreesboro. Stones River shows that Bragg knew military tactics and could develop a good strategy, but his subordinates executed his orders poorly or went beyond the scope of the orders entirely. As the Union Army moved towards Chattanooga and Bragg withdrew from Middle Tennessee in their wake, he found we find multiple attempts at the Confederates trying to stall the Union advance. However, Bragg's subordinates, especially Polk, did not believe in the ability of his men to put up the fight needed to hold them off. He refused to attack and complained about his situation. Additionally, John Hunt Morgan took his cavalry on a raid into Kentucky past the Ohio River, which further depleted the Army of Tennessee of its eyes and ears. Knowing that Bragg gave up Chattanooga and moved toward what would become the Battle of Chickamauga is not surprising, given that his attempts to stop the Union Army was thwarted by his own subordinates. Now, for one of Bragg's most controversial moments, his alleged bloodthirsty need to execute his men for minor infractions. One has to remember, all the men executed under his command were tried under a court-martial. They decided the punishment. Bragg simply signed off on the sentence. When we look at the statistics, Braxton Bragg only approved the death sentence for 28 soldiers while commanding the army. This is only one every 20 days. Joseph E. Johnston, the beloved general by his men, approved one death sentence every 17 days during the 8 months he led the army. It also looks to be that the Army of Northern Virginia had a higher execution rate than the Army of Tennessee. In conclusion, Hess puts together an incredible book that will definitely make you rethink the way you have previously viewed Braxton Bragg. I only cover 3 small parts of the story. I encourage you to read the book for yourself and make your own decisions, but I can safely say for the people I have talked to about this book, their view of the most hated man in the Confederacy has changed. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you think these are good arguments, or if you have read the book, let me know if you view Bragg differently now. I'll see you next time.